My name is Emily van Wappert. I'm talking to you from the wonderful city of Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and I'm the founder of Meeting Masters Online. Meeting Masters Online is a 100% remote agency focused on improving the way we connect and engage. And today I will talk to you about the importance of staying connected in the jungle of hybrid and fully remote organizations. I'm here to talk about connection and about contact because I deeply believe that genuine contact is the starting point of all growth, personal and organizational. We tend to confuse online contact with the ability to speak. Camera on, send, exit meeting. Well, if that's the invite, I pass. Just send me a message, distribute the action points. Real contact is about the ability to show up in full presence, to listen, to be listened to genuinely connect and interact, to engage. And that requires significantly more effort than just opening up a Zoom or a Teams call and firing the agenda away. Obviously, this is a keynote and interactions in webinars are limited. I think you're even muted. Yet, I would like to see and know a bit more of you. Feel free to keep your camera off if that makes you feel more secure, if it makes you feel better. But if you can, please turn your camera on. It would help me to connect and to get a bit of a feel for who you are. Would you even be okay if we try a little physical exercise? There's this thing called arm voting. You use your arms as you would in any poll. If you fully agree, this is what you do. If you're like halfway, and if you disagree, this is what you do. So if I were to ask, are you in a remote business? And you are in 100% remote business. Are you in 50% remote business, like 40-60? Or you have no idea? Let's start with that question. Are you in a remote business? Okay. Well, that's interesting. Then are you in HR? And who is in business innovation? And who is in an area that I could never think of? Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for moving with me. Thank you for activating your brain in a different way. And I am absolutely sure that we are ready and here to start. Today, I will talk to you about three things. About the importance of a connected company culture, about the real essence of meetings, and about how not all engagement is a meeting. In this audience, I obviously do not need to promote the upsides of remote. We just saw that. The footprint reduction, the savings in time and cost, the productivity increase. But I do want to talk to you about the possible downsides. The loneliness, the isolation. A lack of togetherness can have an enormous impact on the individual, but also on your company's performance, on the innovation. And the challenge is not in technology. It's not in operational planning. It is first and foremost in building a company culture that fosters that feeling of togetherness. In meeting and engaging in a way that people feel a sense of connection and belonging. The feeling of being part of a group is important to people, but group feeling does not come naturally. Building and nurturing company culture that attracts and retains staff, that is really hard work of everyone involved. One very easy piece of advice. If you want to change your company culture, start with the way that people meet and engage. Too often I see companies invest in cultural change and they focus on new hierarchies, on job descriptions, on refurbishing the canteen maybe. But the way that people gather, how meetings are held, they remain intact. And that is so odd, especially since the conditions for successful change correspond so closely with the essence of real contact. It is about allowing people to show up and bring their best to the table, to set the conditions for all to be involved, to make sure that people can listen and be heard, to motivate, to participate, to harvest the benefits of collective wisdom and collaboration. The discussion online versus on-site often ends in the conclusion that online prevents real interpersonal connection. That is not correct. Genuine contact is also possible in virtual get-togethers, but even more than with regular on-site meetings, preparation is crucial. What's the purpose of the meeting? Who is supposed to attend? What should be the output? And what involvement am I looking for? If it's social, that still goes. It still needs attention. It needs intent. It works better with intent. But let's talk business for now. Please pay attention to this because it's very important. Meetings are never a goal in itself. Meetings are moments of engagement, and not all engagement requires a meeting. Better meetings need deliberate choices. When do I call a meeting? What's the intended output? What channel to choose? Do I call a complex hybrid session or will a simple telephone call do? To provide content and direction when choosing a channel, we have developed the Meeting Compass. It addresses 5 different channels with different time and place as a starting point for selection. I won't deep dive into the model altogether here. It's freely downloadable from our website. And I will share the URL in the chat later on, reminds me. I will give you one golden rule when considering one channel over the other. It is the combination of function and complexity that determine the best channel choice. What's the best purpose for a meeting? Is it a heartbeat meeting, just to keep track? Or are you looking to accelerate thinking, to learn, to sell? And when I talk complexity, the main reference is emotional complexity. Tough relationship work is way more difficult online. We miss that option of putting a hand on someone's shoulder. So if a meeting has a high emotional load, my preference would be to go real life. But for all clarity, everything is possible. For an organization and its people to thrive, the success is in a mix. It's in and online and offline. And after all, even 100% remote successful companies have their own offlines, just to get together now and then. So it's not odd to mix. Let's get over this once more because I thought it was so important, remember? So meetings are never a goal in itself because meetings are moments of engagement, accelerators of some sort. And not all engagement requires meeting. And this is what I want to speak to you about now. The biggest hiccup when moving to remote work was that all of a sudden everything was a meeting. For office workers, the average amount of meeting hours went up from 14 to 21 hours a week. Bless. Stop doing that. Don't call a meeting if you just need a quick exchange of information. When I stop by to say hello, that's an encounter. It's engaging, hopefully, but it's not a meeting. So let's not turn every engagement into a meeting because it even hurts the quality of just engagement. Promise? Thank you. Then let's look forward because shaping engagement in a hybrid world is difficult too. The future of work, in my mind, will consist of a mix of channels that fluently interact. Online meetings will stay, but there will also be real life meetings and real offices and real office coffee. But as I see it, there will be an in-between world, a liaison between the people online and the people on site. And that's a virtual office space, an environment where contact is more casual, where people can sit and work together, where they can meet, interact, just have a power hour. It's that implicit place that everyone's looking for when being fully remote. Let me give you a bit of guidance and take you back to the old days when I started my career at KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines. It's back in 1995, bear with. But each department had its own dedicated space in a highly traditional office. And I would run to communications and say, do we have a brochure on transits of Schiphol? And a colleague would look up and could say, but I don't know, but I think Mariska might know. And Mariska would be in the same space and she would say, yes, we do. But then came the flex spaces, and everyone was everywhere in the building. And the thought was that by letting go of the walls, people would connect better. I was so lost. Had I known Mariska could help me, I would have been able to find her, obviously. But for that generic question. And then MS Teams, love it or hate it, it was developed for that in that same spirit. It's the online version of Flex Spaces. If you know who to look for, it functions sufficiently and you can reach out. Not great, not fun, but okay enough. But now, what if there were an online space where marketing could sit together virtually? Regardless of whether people were working from in the office or from home, their avatars could be in the same space. And then my options as an internal client, they would be way better because if I was looking for that brochure. But it would be better for the team spirit too. To see your colleagues on a daily basis, to have that stupid joke in the morning every day. It would also help to find people in other departments. And there would be less proximity bias. Because this would be a space where people are equal, sharing the same presence in the same location. And we could tailor such a virtual office to have meeting rooms, to have focus areas, to have a central stage for town hall meetings. I would even tune my work from home lunches to sit with colleagues who would be online at the same time. So based on that vision, I claimed the URL inbetweens.live back in 2020, realizing that we need such a space to flourish in hybrid organizations. Until I found that such solutions already existed, and I'm not a techie at all. So they existed, but they just weren't promoted for use in that specific way. One of the favorite platforms in that respect is Spatial Chat. You are this little circle and you can move freely through a workspace. And if you get closer to someone, then a video connection starts and you can see and hear that person, just like in real life. And that makes interaction more deliberate, more free, and it increases the feeling of engagement. With Meeting Masters, we turned into keen ambassadors for Spatial Chat. We use it over and over again in different highly interactive events. It's an event platform, it's a meeting venue, a platform for online collaboration, a webinar suite with an after party, a social place. Well, Spatial Chat is potentially all of that. And they didn't even pay me to promote them like this. So Spatial Chat is a platform for meeting and engagement in its broadest sense, and it fully supports my vision on that in-between space. To have equal presence regardless of location, and to be connected when you are not in a meeting. And this, for example, is our Meeting Masters canteen, and you just saw the central hall. Let me share some screenshots of what other office spaces could look like. What a great stage for webinars, town hall meetings. There are workspaces like integrating collaborative tools like Miro. And there are focus rooms to work in silence but together. Do you know that feeling? The enormous boost to have a power hour sitting there, focused, working alone, but knowing there's more people in that space? Well, it's all there. It's the event platform, the meeting venue, the collaboration, the social place. Check out Spatial Chat. And if you don't check them out for a demo, just contact me. I'm more than keen to tell you all about it. I will leave their contact details in the chat as well in a moment. What's important for me now is to just confirm work has left the building. But with the building, we have not left our desire to belong to a group, to work together, to interact. Let us please safeguard that when moving into that next era. Let each and every one of you in this audience today strive for better everyday contact, inclusive, interactive, participative, fun. And if this keynote contributed only 1% in activating that connection, then I'm a very happy person. Thank you, and let's keep in touch.